Hello, everyone. How are you?
Exhausted.
Well, they don't sound that exhausted to me. Yes. I think they woke up. So it's very, very touching to see such a huge crowd in the room and to have you all in the Knesset. It's very touching. It's not obvious and not a given that you all take of your time and come to Israel and support Israel and come to the Knesset and support us in this crazy realm. And I'd like to share with you, just in 1 or 2 minutes with your permission, what is important to me, what are my issues in the Knesset, and to end with a thought that has to do with cohesiveness and unity. And I think a part and parcel of the national security of this country, one part of which is the relationship with the Jewish diaspora. And I don't feel that it is up to me or to Tatiana or to Rabbi Kariv or to the minister or to anybody to relate what it should look like, what it should feel like. I think that everybody has a right and a responsibility vis-a-vis our Creator in the way that he or she feels right. I feel that very deeply. I'm a believer. I believe very deeply in God. And I think that this is the beauty of faith and belief. I know that not everybody feels that way. I think this is an issue that hurts the cohesiveness and the unity and the strength of the Jewish peoplehood. As somebody, you may hear from my accent, I did spend some time in South Africa. We have a beautiful Jewish community in South Africa. I grew up in Cape Town. I did spend my first years in Israel and came back as a lone soldier to Israel. And as such, thank you. You see, for me, it seems obvious, but you clap your hands. So for me, what you do doesn't seem obvious, and yet you do that. So we're equal. But I feel very, very strongly about this country. My love for this country is, I think, unequivocal. And I feel very strongly about the need for cohesiveness within the Jewish peoplehood. And that has a lot to do with the strength and the relationship between Israel and the Jewish people, wherever or in whatever manner they may feel this Jewishness. And it's important enough for me to do things about strengthening that relationship. I am a member of the Internal Security Committee in the Knesset. I formerly served as the advisor, the Jewish Affairs advisor of former President Shimon Peres. God knows he didn't need me to advise him on that, yes. But anyway, he took me for some God unknown reason, and we sort of did okay. I also spent 3 years in Cairo, believe it or not. I was a Jewish Israeli epitome of all evil kind of diplomat there. Everybody thought I was from the Mossad, and every time I tried to convince them I was not, they sort of believed it even more. And then one day, after spending quite a few years working with mayors in the Federation of all local governments in Israel and creating sustainable sources of income and diversifying employment opportunities and getting to know the nitty-gritty of the real Israeli day-to-day execution of issues on the ground, I got a phone call from current Minister of Defense, Benny Gantz. You may have heard of him. He's the head of my party, Blue and White, and asked me if I want to join his party. He gave me such a short time to decide, and I sort of did it quickly. It was 3.5 years ago. I hope I did the right thing. But I think that I did because it was part of, you mentioned the word shlichut. It was part of my shlichut. I came to Israel to try and do the best I can for the Jewish people, for Israel. I feel very strongly about it. I don't care who is cynical about it. I don't understand how anybody can be cynical about it when the current war in Ukraine broke out and the foreign ministry of Israel was the only foreign ministry to stand on the borders of Ukraine and to handpick Jews and Israelis and non-Jews according to the number of people we could take in terms of refugees, but particularly Jews and Israelis. And only today I heard that Ukrainian and Russian-speaking Jews from all over that area were in that endless line of cars. Remember, there were all these pictures of all these endless kilometers upon kilometers of cars waiting to get out. And what they did is very, very differently to our past and history. They put Magen Davids on the windows and on cloths to show that they are Jewish. And quite honestly, I had tears in my throat because this is what it's all about. So with all respect to cynicism, and God knows this is the house of cynicism, I completely discard it as a legitimate characteristic, and I urge all of you, yes, there are people who are against, there are people who do not accept. Let's just completely discard them. It's not that it's unimportant, but we have our truth, cohesiveness, the Jewish peoplehood, the shlichut. This country is not just another country. It is truly a country that is a haven. And the Ukraine war was just a very recent reminder. And God knows that I come from a Jewish community that really suffered a lot of BDS and anti-Semitism in South Africa. And they're strong, and they're part of that cohesiveness. Some of them are Reform, some of them are conservative, some of them are Orthodox. And at the end of the day, and with all respect, and believe me, I know what is respect. Who cares? As long as this cohesiveness keeps this important peoplehood alive and strong. And I salute you for holding on to that and for taking your time. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Prince, one of the most